Hello everyone and welcome to another episode on the Ordinary Boy Boxing channel. Now in today's video we're going to be talking about the announcement of Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn, or Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. It was signed, I believe, last night at about 3 in the morning. So we're still waiting for... It has officially been announced, so it is going to be happening. But I suppose we're waiting for an official statement to confirm the date, where it's going to be, when tickets are going to go on sale, stuff like that. But I'll tell you what we do know, or we pretty much know. The fight will be happening, we believe, at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. The date, again, almost sure this is the date, is going to be the 26th of April. One of the other things we know, which I think was a sticking point during this negotiation, why it took a little bit longer, was the rehydration clause, which I believe is between £6 to £10. I've heard some people say it's £6, I've heard some people say it's £10. So what that basically means is when they weigh in, obviously it'll be, unlike the first fight, which was a catch weight, it's going to be at £160. So Eubank's middleweight, what he would usually fight at, £160. But he will only be able to rehydrate the next day up to, if it's £10, £170. Obviously, this is something that Chris Eubank Jr. would have wanted. Now, obviously, this fight, I believe, was it 2022 it was supposed to happen? The difference is now is the weight. As I said, originally the weight was going to be a catch weight. I believe, was it 154? I'm trying to think back to 2 years ago. And now it's going to be 160. This obviously helps Chris Eubank Jr. because that is his natural weight. Also, they're both older, which is not so much of an effect on Conor Benn. I was going to say Nigel Benn, on Conor Benn, because he's quite young anyway. But Chris Eubank Jr. is now 2 years older. I've said previously, I think he's coming towards the end of his career. So that, I think age will be more of a factor for Chris Eubank Jr. I'm not going to give you my prediction today. That will be on a separate video. I just wanted to talk about this fight being announced. I thought it was going to be at Wembley, so I'm a little bit surprised it's Tottenham Hotspurs. I did think the fight would get made. I know they were two in and throw in. But money-wise, I couldn't really see where either man were going to go. I know Conor Benn was on about fighting Barrios, which would have been for a title, but you're not talking anywhere near the amount of money. And if this Eubank Jr. fight hadn't happened now, I think it wouldn't have happened, especially, as I said, with the age that Eubank Jr. is getting to. The other thing we don't know is there a rematch clause? That's something I don't know yet. I'm sure that will be asked. As I said, it was announced. So where are we? We're at Wednesday. It was announced early hours of this morning. So I'm going to guess at the earliest we're going to get a press conference on Monday. It's going to be some point next week, Monday to Friday. Turki Al-Sheikh, obviously the Saudi Arabian, what would you even call him? His Excellency, as all the other boxers call him. Well, he's been involved with this fight, but as I said, it's not going to be in Saudi Arabia. It is going to be in London. Just looking at any other information that has been announced. So obviously the rehydration clause. This fight is notable for, I'd say, two reasons. The first reason being what happened 2 years ago. The fight was made. Conor Benn failed a drugs test. Over the past few years, we've heard varying different accounts of he's been cleared, he hasn't been cleared. He's had to and throws with the British Boxing Commission. Eubank went on to fight Liam Smith twice. 1 loss, 1 win. and we are where we are now. The second reason that this fight is quite notable is their dads. In the early 90s, early to mid 90s, Conor Benn's dad, Nigel Benn, and Chris Eubank Jr.'s dad, Chris Eubank Sr., fought. It was on terrestrial TV. It was back when in Britain there was only, 3 channels then. And they were, there was no Sky Sports, there was no pay-per-view. They were viewed by a lot of people. And they were big fights. They were entertaining fights. The grudge between them was massive. I think it's fair to say the first time this fight was going to happen between Eubank and Conor Benn, there wasn't really any needle. Probably a bit of pride for their family. But now with what's happened with Conor Benn failing that drugs test, with some of the stuff Chris Eubank Jr. said, some of the stuff Conor Benn said, I think it is quite personal. I think there'll be interesting press conferences and face-offs. Conor Benn reminds me of his dad, which by that I mean his temperament, his ability to just flip at people. And Eubank, I mean, he's very different from his dad, but he's very good at being antagonising, winding people up, knowing what to say. So I think, like their fathers, they probably are. They're both quite a good mix together, and it should be entertaining. I expect the fight to sell out pretty quickly. I know there's been a lot of criticism of this fight, which I do get. Conor Benn's not been proven on the world stage. He's had so much inactivity with the drugs ban, not his fault. Well, kind of is his fault, I suppose. Depends how you look at it. And Chris Eubank Jr. really he's never been the article he's sold himself out to be. He's never really won a world title. He's had a few losses. So people are going, well, why do we care? If when it comes to Chris Eubank Jr., people are like, well, we've seen him. We know what he is. We know what he can do and what he can't do. And Conor Benn, why is he bothering to fight someone 2 weight classes above him? And I think that will be the opinion, especially if you're not British. I think you kind of have to be British and of a certain age to understand the history behind the 2 names, why this fight means so much, and why it will be so big to the British general public. Do let me know in the comments below what you think of the announced fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. As I said, I will be doing a prediction of this big fight. To watch it, all you need to do is click that subscribe button if you've enjoyed this video, then press the like button, and I shall see you all in the next video.